Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
From the Lock 100 studios in beautiful, sunny, awesome Southern California, it is the Big Biz Show. Costa, Greg Todorov, our executive producer, and Sully.
Mary's taking some time off. Good to see her. 125 million TV homes strong. Of course, American Forces Radio Network in 175 countries. And all the ships at sea. Great to have you along. Very excited to have Paul Travers come on the air.
Oh, me too.
And can I tell you this?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
No, I'm just going to... I've put some things into my teleprompter here.
Right.
Yes. Teleprompter. Yep. On my glasses here.
Yep.
Now, first of all, I can take these glasses and I can... Greg can say, "Donde está el casa de Pepe?"
Okay.
And I know that he's looking for a scotch and a steak in the bathroom.
Yep.
So they've got caption, they got fitness here, they got turn-by-turn directions, they've got a golf caddy, and they've got a teleprompter here. And when Paul comes on the air, I'm going to read you.
Golf caddy.
Let me just start to tell you.
So
Mike, let me take a moment to tell you, with this Vuzix waveguide built right into the lens, they're perfect for getting immediate updates. In the past, I'd have to take out my phone to check my texts and notifications. Now my updates appear right in front of my eyes. That all is right here in the glass.
Right
I read that whole damn thing on my glasses.
So is it is it a game changer now when you are going to be a keynote speaker somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
You wear those?
Yeah, because Greg will wear the Buddy Hollies without the tin on them.
Absolutely.
Like he likes to rock every once in a while. Apparently he has. Oh, look at the Day Trader Trios here. Good to see. Sorry, guys.
Oh, how are you? TT.
Can you get a little something? Okay, back to the glasses. Are those real, James? They're real. Okay. Greg was admitting before the show that he rocks the glass, the fake glass.
The faux.
I can't see
the ladies love them.
The horn.
And by ladies, you mean your 5-year-old, your 8-year-old, and your wife?
Yeah,
my dad's smart.
My 10-year-old daughter said, "Take those off. You look stupid."
Yeah. So, have you ever really done that?
Huh?
You, like let's say you go to Carver Seaside Market and you
Maybe.
stroll, you rock, because I know you did change to go to the market by yourself.
But then I run into people and I say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you."
Hey, Howie Font's here, the entrepreneur, of course, who we like to call Trash. I think Howie's here. Howie from New York. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Hey, I've not even looked at the stock market today. I'm in the business.
It's up 500 something.
Is it really? What's going on? He thinks I'm kidding. So tell me what's happening. What's going on in the market today? He hasn't either, apparently.
Forget Monday. I think there was some crying, a little bit of peeing myself, all that. Never mind. Everything's fine.
So here's my...
We bounce back instantly. This is normal.
So wait a second. So we had a job report last Friday. Then when the thing happened in Japan, which caused a big cave on Monday. Mm-hmm. We had a dead cat bounce on Tuesday. Dead cat bounce, by the way, means if you drop a dead cat from a high enough building, even a dead cat will bounce. So honest to God, it's a Wall Street term, and that's what it means. So if the market drops that bad one day, it usually bounces the next day. It's honest to God called a dead cat bounce.
Sorry, Fluffy.
Right. Yeah. So.
But then wait a second. After our dead cat bounce, we saw kind of a nasty day yesterday again, and the fear index went up through the roof. So is this the evening out that you discussed with us on Monday's show?
Yeah. I mean, we're basically back where we were middle of the day on Friday. So it's like nothing happened. And that's due to people thinking that the carry trade, the Japanese trade you mentioned, is about halfway done, although there's some arguing to do there.
Right.
And also,
I think the other thing you mentioned was, and look, if you look over history, stocks always return to their mean, right? I mean, if and I think you said of all the market cap that we lost, nice fresca, Mike. You want some Funyuns to go with that?
Nice.
Sorry to point that out. You said with all the market cap we lost, what was it? Brought us back to what month? We only lost a couple months worth of trade. This wasn't a crash. It was a crash.
We went back to the middle of May. On Monday, when we had the panic, we went back to the middle of May. Now where we are after some rallies is back to where we were on Friday.
All right, so stand by. More from Howie in a second. Howie, stay right there. Big Biz Show. Coming up today, we got Paul Travers. We got Patrick DeHaan from GasBuddy.com.
Oh, cannot wait to hear this.
That'll piss you off.
It is the Big Biz Show. Wherever you are listening, watching, we appreciate it across our great nation. In Mexico on Bloomberg Financiero, soon to be in Europe and Bloomberg EU, and of course, the American Forces Network, 175 countries, all the ships at sea, Costa, Greg Todorov, and Sully. Well, Big Biz Show. Coming up in a couple seconds, Paul Travers. When you said Bloomberg Financiero, Greg could have translated it.
Oh, I could have.
His Vuzix glasses. Great to have you. And of course, Day Trader Trio. Seen and heard. Just don't make eye contact, don't talk. I've told you guys. No, I'm sorry. I told Mary that. It wasn't you guys.
That's
I knew
right.
it was Mary Mercado. That's right. I said,
right.
hey, Mary, the men are talking. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Great to have you along. One of our favorite things to do here is interview CEOs of public companies and private companies. We don't like much interviewing celebrities and authors, and so we're just going to stick with this. Tim Smith is the CEO of a company called U.S. Goldmining, Inc., USGO. It's been a long time since we've been able to talk about an actual gold mining company. Mm-hmm. The interesting part of this thing is I think one of the shareholders, if I'm not mistaken, said, hey, you guys got to have this guy on the air. So I give you this. This is how important we are. We get the CEO of a public company just like that.
Yeah.
Actually,
big
it happens. Actually, I think we had to beg him.
We're big time, yeah.
Tim, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
Very well. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, listen, I want to talk about the gold space first before we talk about your company.
Sure.
And gold has been a hedge against inflation, or at least thought it was a hedge against inflation. You guys went out of favor for a number of years, about 8 years ago, and then came right back into favor after a while. And what do you attribute the resurgence of gold? Because gold is everywhere. You look at gold exchange traded funds, you look at companies like yours, you're starting to hit the news again on a daily basis. And that's been that way for a couple of years now. But prior to that, it was kind of interesting. It was crickets for a while. What do you attribute the new sort of resurgence?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm old enough to have started my career when the central banks were selling their gold because they wanted to a more liquid investment base. But and that was a real problem early on in my career. A lot of my graduating class left the industry very early on and really couldn't get their career started because gold explorers and miners were not doing well. And that was from the mid-90s through about to 2002, 2003. Then we started to see gold pick up. But the last, I would say 5 years in particular, and the last couple of years, we've really seen record buying by the central banks. So gold is a sought after commodity, where for various reasons, as a hedge against inflation, we're seeing geopolitical tensions on the rise globally. And we're seeing the rise of the BRICS nations as well, the so-called Brazil, Russia, India, so on. Their central banks, they're trying to move away from their dependence on the US dollar. They're trying to support their own currencies by stocking their vaults full of gold, so they're buying. And, that is really why we're seeing, I think, the strong demand for gold. And at the same time, the suppliers are starting to run out of gold. Over the last 10 years, we've seen globally resources and reserves being depleted because the big miners are mining just as fast as they can. You can bet when gold goes up 25% in the space of a year, as it has done over the last year, that they're going to turn on production. They're really going to turn their jets on and produce it just as fast as they can to make money to sell gold at spot, and they're doing very well. We're starting to see now the majors with the latest quarterly financial reports coming out that they're really starting to turn the corner in terms of their own profitability. We're starting to see dividends being paid again, which is fantastic for the overall industry. So it's about supply and demand, and right now the equation is right for gold.
His name is Tim Smith, CEO of U.S. Goldmining, Inc. They are publicly traded under the stock symbol USGO. You can go to usgoldmining.us if I'm not mistaken. Tim, talk about what I'm seeing in the background there as a gold/copper mine. I've always heard that if you have a gold mine, you automatically have a copper mine as tailings, but you guys are actually focusing on this a little bit. Talk about the difference here.
Yeah. So look, just to correct you there, we don't actually have a mine. I mean, it's in the name of our company, but it's something that we aspire to do. So we have an exploration project on a fantastic, exciting property in Alaska that has never been mined.
So this is a future mine development, correct?
Exactly.
Got it.
We're talking
that makes
about
sense.
Ounces in the ground waiting to be mined. This is a really exciting flagship project for our company. It's a gold plus copper, plus silver mine. We've got that trifecta, if you like, of three commodities that are all doing very well. You know, gold hitting record highs recently. Copper's been strong between $4 and $5 a pound. Even silver's been hitting $30 an ounce again. And we see tremendous growth potential. So right now we believe it's an exploration play. That means that we think we can make it bigger. So we're in the process of exploring to really, test the full potential of what this resource in the ground could look like before we put a mine plan to it and start to take it into development.
Tim, I don't want you strip mining preserves, and I don't want you killing grizzlies and bald eagles and stuff, but is there just a ton of gold that is out there that companies like yours, people who are mining, just can't get to because of regulation in the United States?
Yeah, there is. And that's the way it should be. We shouldn't be mining in national parks. National parks are preserved for a very good reason. But one of the things that distinguishes Whistler is it's located on state land. So we're not dealing with federal land, native title land. We're not dealing with national parks or anything like that. It's close to Anchorage. It's the closest large undeveloped resource to the main city in Alaska, of course, of Anchorage. It's just 100 miles away. You can almost see it from Anchorage. It's that close. Furthermore, the state is supporting future infrastructure in the forms of a roads to resources concept. In short, they want to build a road directly to our mine. They've already approved the first section of that, the first 22 miles, which is coming from federal funding. That's going to be working its way through permitting in the coming year. They want to get started on that road. There's not just our gold copper deposit. There's a number of different natural resources. Alaska's a resource state. They know that they're underdeveloped with respect to infrastructure, so they are actively seeking to invest into infrastructure that will help encourage economic development, including the future resource development for gold copper resources.
Hey, Tim. By the way, Tim Smith, CEO of U.S. Goldmining Inc., stock symbol USGO. I got a question for you. When you get started, what is the path to liquidity for you at that point? Do you start looking for another exploration project? Do you take this thing and sell it off to a mining company? I mean, after all, you worked for the world's largest gold miner, Newmont, and all the resources they have in the world to start to sort of begin this journey here. What is sort of the next step in the process and the arc of that story once this thing goes to full guns?
Yeah, so short term, it's about exploration success. It's about growing the enterprise value of the project and getting some short term wins for our shareholders. We're just a year in. We just IPO'd last year. We raised $20 million and listed on the NASDAQ to basically undertake, we phrase it as the rediscovery of Whistler. Whistler was almost forgotten for about 10 years because, as we started the interview, gold was down low. It was $1,100 an ounce at $2,000. $2,400 an ounce. Now it makes a lot more sense to get in and wake this company up, wake this project up, put it in a new vehicle, US Goldmining Inc., get some new investors on board, and set about exploration. So the growth in the short term is really where we're going to see share price growth. Longer term, we're going to be building this out, doing taking all of the technical steps towards making this a safe, proficient, efficient, permittable, and profitable mining opportunity for the future. Whether we take it through to mining or we partner with a major developer or a production company, we will do what makes sense for our shareholders ultimately. Me and my colleagues, we have certainly built mines in the past. If it makes sense for us to do that, then we will grow and we will do that. We'll bring on the expertise to do that. If a big brother comes along and says, hey, we want to invest, we want to participate, and that makes sense to really expedite the development of the project, and we think that will translate through to a win for shareholders, then we will look at that closely.
Tim, on the side, I've got a catalytic converter theft ring that I run to get copper. What can you tell us about copper and where is that going?
Yeah, so we have a big copper mine in its own right. I mean, I don't know if you can read the banner behind me. We tend to talk about gold equivalent ounces. So we have around 3.5 million ounces gold equivalent in the indicated category and another 6 in inferred. But if I break that down, it's a big gold deposit with around 2 million ounces pure gold in the indicated, another 4.7 in the indicated. But the copper component of that is significant in its own right. 400 billion pounds of copper in the indicated category and 700 billion pounds of copper in the inferred. I'm not allowed to add those together, but I'm sure you guys can. Your viewers can do that to basically recognize that that's a significant copper deposit. Copper is a critical metal. It's critical in terms of advancing the energy transition as we move forward into the future. One of the metrics that we came up with recently is that's enough copper to build about 6 million electric vehicles, just to sort of put that into another metric for your viewers. So this is a significant copper project as well.
Hey, Tim, will you come back with us at some point? We'd love to have you back. I mean, it's fascinating. I could keep you for a half hour on this thing. Tim Smith, CEO.
Would love to.
Fantastic. Man. CEO, U.S. Goldmining, Inc., USGO, committed to meaningful long-term benefits for all of their shareholders. In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea, we are proudly broadcast on the American Forces Network. To the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, for what you do, what you've done for us, we salute you. Costa, Greg Todorov, Roy Orbison behind the bar. Pretty woman. I am a pretty woman. Only on Thursdays and Wednesdays in certain clubs. Let me tell you about, oops, hang on a second. I messed up something here. You may be wondering why I'm wearing these fashionable glasses. And they're not only fashionable, I'm wearing these all the time now. But let me take a moment to tell you about Vuzix. With the Vuzix waveguide built right into the lens, they're perfect for getting immediate updates. In the past, Mike,
yes,
I'd have to check my texts and notifications right in front of me. So now I can just stay in the flow. You have no idea that I'm actually reading out of my glasses at the moment. I'm reading the script as I'm talking to you. They can also translate any language. Donde está el casa de Pepe?
Okay.
I can see what that means, Mike. It's right on the corner to the left. It says ladies on the door. If you're interested, go to Vuzix.com and check them out for yourself. And as I'm talking to you, everything I'm saying,
I'm reading.
You're reading on your glasses.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO and president of Vuzix, Paul Travers, joins us. Paul, so aren't you just so proud of us that we got that whole thing figured out? I can see the look of surprise on your face. How are you, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, Sully. Well done.
Good to see you too. So are we to the point where in the next 18 months, this is just going to be a thing? Like when I do 45 keynotes a year on negotiation and the economy and time management, and I can just put a pair of glasses on and have my bullet points right in my glasses. Are we getting close to that point, or are we there now?
I think you're there now, actually, but getting into the marketplace and people figuring out the value proposition, that's all just starting to happen. If you look at Meta with their glasses, they don't even have displays in them yet. But those smart glasses, I think they sold upwards of 1 million over the last 12 to 18 months. And they're prepping for the next gen. I mean, this is going to be well bigger than the smart watch. And quite frankly, this is the beginnings of glasses that will replace your phone.
Paul, how quickly is this going to accelerate? Because you just mentioned the smartwatch, and when it first came out, and then all the iterations of it, and the different how they improved on it. I mean, is this thing just a rocket for you right now?
It's going to be. I think 2025 is really the year where it will jump. Right now, the hardest bit is to make the waveguides in the glasses. The computers that run inside of them are getting small enough now. Everything else that's there can be made tiny. I mean, Meta's glasses are just another good example. But making those displays and getting them small enough so they look cool, fashion forward in a pair of glasses, that is a really hard thing to do. It's what Vuzix does. And we have a facility here that can manufacture upwards of 1 million units a year. And we're on our way to much bigger volumes here.
Mike, could you tell I was reading?
No.
I was looking at you, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing too, Paul, is that literally if I had to have bullet points, let's say I was on a Zoom call while I was driving, I wasn't on video, but I had to be a part of a sales meeting, and I had bullet points, it's easy how your brain automatically shifts to where I'm looking at James and looking at you guys, yet I'm reading with my right eye. And that's part of the technology. I want to talk about AI and AR. You guys have heard of Apple Vision Pro. We've talked about it with Paul before. Apple Vision Pro entrance in the marketplace kind of changes everything. How do you guys fit into that picture? Because I can see this thing being a game changer for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the Apple Vision Pro is a souped up, bulky, big, has a ton of stuff in it. And I mean, you've seen them, they're not designed to wear down the street. Sully, you look like you're sporting a conventional pair of sunglasses when you put our glasses. We can do that. We can do that today, and we can deliver at price point that the mass markets will can afford to pay, quite frankly. So the big win is going to start first with glasses that are fashion forward. Again, there's companies out there that are already making hay and making that happen. Vuzix does this in the enterprise side of our business, but I have to say the OEM side, the consumer, the broader side of the business, there's so many companies coming to us now that need access to these waveguides, and that's where it's really going to kick into overdrive, and it won't be with an Apple Vision Pro. It's going to be with fashion-forward glasses that people would actually put on and wear all day. I mean, you imagine the Apple Vision Pro is the thing weighs pounds. And you're in a warehouse working for an 8-hour shift, you can't put that thing on a wear a full day.
He's Paul Travers, the CEO and president of Vuzix, a NASDAQ symbol, VUZI.
Hey, Paul, with Vuzix, with respect to addressable market, you've thrown a couple numbers out in the past, which I think are completely realistic considering what's happening in the market with respect to smart glasses as it is. What's the addressable market now? What's it going to be in 5 years? Do you have any idea?
It's in the billions of dollars worth of business. If you think about a smartwatch that they sell 300 million smartwatches a year. That's going to be smart glasses. Within the next 5 years, it will climb that same curve. You watch how fast this goes. And this is just the very beginnings of it. And we make a component, actually several components that go in the glasses, that will garner significant margin and a large portion of the value proposition that goes in the glasses. These waveguides are hard to build. They can cost by competitors $200 to $1,000 a piece, and we can do them at a significantly lower price point than that, enabling the broad market. So literally, this is billions of dollars worth of addressable market for Vuzix.
Hey, Paul, I want to talk about OEM in a second without any major additional investment. I also want to talk about a press release you put out back in July talking about your traction in healthcare. When you were here in the studio last, that's the thing that was amazing because I put a pair of glasses on. I had a mock-up of a patient where I could see blood pressure, I could see heart rate, I could see a number of variables. Talk about the healthcare market for you. Yeah,
I mean, we have organizations, companies that use our glasses to physically do knee surgeries, let's say. Today, it's $1.5 million robotic surgery, and it takes 2 hours to do that by robotics. You can buy our gear through this partner that we have, Pixie. It's a 45-minute operation. The gear's $15,000, and it's a per operation. There's a fee, but it's a fraction of what it costs to do robotic surgery, as an example. So our glasses are being used right in the operating theater to do the operation itself and do the knee surgery. There's probably not an hour of the day, Sully, that goes by where our glasses aren't being used in some form of assist in the operating theater, from open heart surgeries, remote surgeries, gear that you might need, support from a technician that can just log right into the operating theater to help. I would suggest that the medical side of our business, from a support tool in the operating theater right on to being the tool that they're doing the operation with, is all a portion of our business that's growing.
Paul, quickly, is there a military application? Have you thought about things like that as well?
There are a pile of them. As you might imagine, having access to information on the battlefield is key.
Exactly.
And there's information that flows from so many different sources. And if the soldier, the guy on the ground, had access to it, he can be doing actionable things around it.
But just, a platoon talking amongst themselves silently instead of having to whisper or, that type of thing. Game changer.
Yeah. Just a simple thing, right? I could take your gun and point it around the corner with the camera sights. You're seeing through the sights of the gun, but you're not having to expose your body.
Those, by the way, are the best looking sunglasses I've ever seen you wear.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. We'll see you next week. Paul Travers.
These make me look skinny?
Vuzix.
Yes.
No, your face doesn't. CEO and President, Vuzix. They're publicly traded. Stock symbol VUZI. More big biz coming up. Stand by. Loft 100 Studios, The Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
It goes the hip hop, the hip it to the hip it, the hip hip. You hop and you don't stop, the rocket to the bang bang. Boogie say up jump the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. Now me, the groove, and the trio are gonna try to move your feet. But first I gotta bang bang, a rhythm to the rhythm, say up jump the rhythm to the bang bang. Boogie, let's rock. You don't stop till the rhythm that makes your body rock. It goes.
Bryan Kobel is the CEO of TC Biopharm Holdings. There's
Sorry, Bryan.
TC BP, and of course, he is one of my favorite people. Also, there's a number of things happening with his business, but once again, he joins us. I don't even, are you in Glasgow now? Where are you right now, Bryan?
I am in Glasgow, and happily so. By the way, the Shriners sound like a poorer version of the Mormons, right? They kind of all want to be clear. Show up in mass.
But isn't everybody a poorer version of the Mormons? Bryan, first of all, congratulations for staying up 11 o'clock at night, and he's in Glasgow. Where would you be on a Thursday night in Glasgow? I know where I'd be.
Yeah. Big Biz Show.
Eating haggis.
Yeah. Thanks for killing the show, Mike. Bryan, let's review for our viewers here. Talk about what TCB Biopharm Holdings, what was the initial goal here? Because I know you're turning into an acquisition model, much like the Oracles, the Intels of the world, which is a huge hit for shareholders. At the same time, though, you're also creating life-saving drugs. Talk about that. Give us a review.
Yeah, so we developed TCB008, which is an allogeneic gamma delta T cell. Right now, it's in a phase 2B trial in AML, and we've seen great efficacy in the phase 1B. Response rate from 38% blast, which is the disease rate, down to 6% after 28 days. We view that product as ubiquitous across a number of different indications and in combination with other therapies. We've talked about the French fry thing before, and I didn't realize how much it meant until I sat down for British cuisine, where you can get chips or French fries with every single meal. That's kind of TCB008, right? French fries. By the way,
just for clarity, Mike gets chips or French fries every single meal anyway. So let's figure that out. It's just one of the 4 food groups with little chocolate donuts.
Even at church when I go to communion, I insist on French fries or chips.
He gets a side of chips for the side of chips. So we see that as sort of ubiquitous base technology that's applicable across multiple indications and in combination therapies. So we're excited about what that is, but then we started looking at, to your point, this acquisition model and how do we expand our base? How do we get outside of just gamma deltas as a cell therapy company and become more of a small pharma player? And now, knowing that TCB008 is basically a baked cake, we know what it is. We can make it efficiently. We can make it economically beneficial. We can deliver it to patients quickly. Now it's about expanding the company into other areas.
Yeah, just 2 things that I want to talk about. First of all, speaking of baked, Bryan Jordan up there is playing great today, regardless. Number 2, I want to talk about the acquisition model. Acquisition model means that a publicly traded company looks for acquisition targets to purchase using stock for currency. And the model was made famous a long time ago through something called vertical integration, whereby Ford Motor Company started buying the parts company. They started buying the paint company and so on and so forth. So everything that was in the line there made acquisition. And the best part is that it would just add, when they purchase a company, they use their publicly traded stock for currency, but it would add to their bottom line, make them look bigger with just doing a transaction. Same thing here with Intel. And think Intel, think Google, sort of the same thing. And when you buy high asset companies, not necessarily assets in terms of cash, but maybe potentially IP or drug therapy, but low debt, it's a brilliant model because suddenly you go from a market cap of X to X times 10 just by doing an acquisition where you're using a small amount of cash and your stock for currency. Is that the model for you, or is it also in regards to other therapies for other indications, or is it an enterprise-wide solution? Is it both?
So it's a combination of both, right? So we view DCB-008 as a great combination therapy, and we know really, really well internally how to optimize processes and how to advance cell therapies. So why would we only stick to TCB-008, right? We can do this with NK cells. We can do it with other gamma delta technologies, macrophages, TILs. Give our team a chance to dig their hands in and really advance technologies that we see line up with what we do and that we can then make a better process. So it's certainly on that angle of vertical integration and enterprise value. At the same time, if you look at just the asset base, generally speaking, to your point, IP and patents, they carry a lot of
that adds the bottom line, man. I mean, that's
100%. I mean, NanoString was bought for 50 times their market cap today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Basically just the IP.
Yeah.
Brian, how tough is it to, I guess, stay in that lane that you do best and not kind of get out over your skis and think in terms of, oh my God, we should be doing this and we should do this, or we can go over here and do this, that type of thing.
Or to his point, or is blood cancer and solid tumor cancer or therapies, can you capture everything? Is there, or do you have to stick to your lane? To Mike's point,
you have to stay in the pocket, right? Because if you start buying like weird services companies because they're in cell therapy, then you're in trouble. But thankfully, and I mean this wholeheartedly, we have a really, really good team. So when I start looking at crazy ideas like, hey, let's buy this car NK company and let's see where it goes, there are people there that say, hey, this makes sense, or Brian, you're delusional, move on. I trust our team. I trust Lauren Bohr. I trust Mark Bonihati. I trust Arlene Morris. I trust people that have been doing this for a long time and doing it better than me to say, hey, we can develop this. This has real legs, or this is junk, throw it out. So our pocket is cell therapy companies that are in the clinical stage or nearing clinical stage where we can advance their technologies using our internal expertise and make their process better, make their manufacturing better, or that have a direct combination with TCB-008 where we see 1 + 1 = 5.
Last of all, I want to talk about talking through this acquisition strategy. Is that going to be a lead sort of focus for you? Because you're moving a lot as a CEO of a public company, especially biopharma. You're moving chess pieces here. You've got therapies, you've got the FDA, you've got acquisitions. Do you focus on one, or do you let, in other words, do you let the existing therapies bake for a minute while you're focusing here on maybe acquiring other stuff? Or how do you manage that as a CEO?
We again, it's not about me, right? It's about the team. But TCB-008 is already sort of on its way, right? We had a call yesterday with an antifungal CRO group that's basically putting together the final synopsis.
By the way, with a myriad of applications.
Exactly. So, but we know what it is. We can make it hand over fist. Yeah. So all we have to do is find the right indications, build the synopsis, and go to the regulators and say, hey, here's what we're doing. They check the box and we move on. Yeah. So TCB-008 is on the highway. It's in the fast lane. It'll figure it out. Yeah. From there, I can then turn to other things and say, hey, look, how do we make this better? Can we buy an NK company? Can we absorb this gamma delta company? What about the alpha betas? And Lauren, for her credit, is making our processing 85% cheaper than it is today over the next 18 to 24 months.
We're bringing the Big Biz Show to Glasgow.
Yeah, let's go.
We're coming there.
Come on, baby.
Road trip.
All right, brother. Good to see you, pal. We'll see you next week. Bryan Kobel, or as Greg Legend says, Kobel, because he's saying it wrong.
Just say it.
He'll get there.
Thanks, Greg Todoroff, CEO of TC Biopharm Holdings.
Todorov.
TCBP is our stock symbol. TCBP. Can I tell you, I had to put Greg in my phone as Greg Todarov, because if I say Siri, call Greg Todorov, it goes to a Russian trance disco rapper. So he goes, "Why is my name spelled wrong?" Said the guy at the freaking Starbucks. Who cares, by the way? Yep. But I said, because if you pull it up,
right.
Family playing some Todorov coming back from the break. Good show. I've got some news from Coca-Cola. And some Cocoa Puffs and peanuts that Russ put together way back when, called that Cuckoo Nutty Cocoa Snack for the King of Snacks, Credit Crush. Big Biz Show coming back.
For being along for this joyous ride. I am Costa. That handsome man right there is Greg Todoroff. He is our phenomenal executive producer, and that guy right there is phenomenal, period. Sully. Let me tell you about the economy. Please do. So you see market at all-time highs up until last Friday when we had a correction on Monday. Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, CPI, Consumer Price Index, is dropping down to 3%, which is basically the core rate of inflation. Core rate meaning that strips out gas and food.
Okay.
Which is a meaningless number, because what do we all care about? Gas and food, right?
Sure. Right.
So here's the interesting part of this. You guys were like whining, like, dare I say, redheaded stepchildren, because I have a stepbrother who's redheaded, I can say it.
Okay.
I do. About $3.25 gas 18 months ago.
Yeah, we were.
What are you paying now?
$5.47, $5.48.
And you are, what are the words three words I'm talking about here? You're used to it.
Oh, we're conditioned to it.
You've accepted
the new normal.
Accepted it. It's the new normal. Joining us now, one of our good friends, Patrick DeHaan's been on the air with us for several years now, head of petroleum analysis for GasBuddy, gasbuddy.com, home of the gas price temperature map. Can we start by showing that temperature map before we show Patrick? Because I just want to, I just need to vomit my mouth a little bit when I see what California is doing. Have you seen this gas price temperature map? It goes from purple to yellow.
Okay? We're on fire. Look.
Purple is the cheapest gas in the country at an average price per gallon of $2.61. Our average. This means if you drive out to Yuma, California, you drive out to Truckee, you're going to get $4.27 a gallon.
I was just in South Carolina a couple weeks ago.
Patrick, how are you, brother? Good to see you, man.
Hey, good to be with you.
It's not looking any better for California, but overall, talk about what we're looking at here with the CPI number coming out, showing inflation's being tamed, but they're leaving out food and gas. Food and gas. By the way, you look fantastic. I don't know what you're doing, more push-ups or something, but you're a shadow of your former self.
The gas prices are a bit less stressful this year than they've been the last couple of years.
They're so stressful you can't eat. Talk about that. What's happening on a national basis?
Either that or maybe it's food prices, right? So I'm trying not to buy as much. So one of those two things,
spending money on gas, which makes him sick, and he can't afford food. Perfect. Doing a great job.
That's right. It's kind of nature's weight loss. But to your point, we've seen a big drop here. California, 47 cents lower at the pump today than a year ago. Collectively, Americans spending about $125 million less on gasoline just today compared to exactly a year ago. So we've seen a little bit of improvement there. And a lot of this really has to do with some of the CPI numbers that you had mentioned. The Fed has really been at work here to slow the interest or slow inflation down through rising interest rates. That's taken a bit of a bite out of commodities and caused prices to go down a bit. So a little bit of this is simply getting beyond COVID, the imbalances. A lot of people are traveling the last 2 years, not so much this summer, more Americans traveling overseas. So demand for gasoline is down, coupled with weakness in China that may actually spread to us now. So a little bit of economic weakness peppered in to what we're paying at the pump, but no refinery issues. And for California, that's a big deal.
Well, let's talk about California because, well, we're in California. It's like when we talk about the NFL. We have nothing to talk about because there's no team here. Thanks, Alex Spanos. You're dead to me. I want your family dead. Your house burned to the ground. I didn't say that live on air, did I?
No.
I don't want his family.
No, you're fine.
I will tell you this. We pay what, 87 cents per gallon more in California, just in environmental fees on top of taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's also the summer blend, the mythical summer blend.
Right.
It's like the mythical 5G that they get to charge us more. Is that ever going to even out here in the western states? And by the way, and will we see some of the other states that are blue-friendly states start adding on environmental fees like you've seen in California? Like, in other words, are we going to see places like New York? Are we going to see other places do that? Because that's, I can see Oregon doing this. I can see Washington doing this. It's a little scary.
Yeah, Washington's already doing it, and there's already been outcry from the cap and trade program. Now, California engineered the cap and trade program. It's been in use now, I want to say, for probably 10 or 15 years, that cap and trade and its low carbon fuel standard, right? So California's got like a buffet of extra fees and taxes, and everyone else is kind of like, we don't want to gain the weight to tie everything back to food again. But yeah, there are some states, Illinois included, where I am, Illinois, New York, California, those blue states do tend to have higher taxes, fees, regulations, whether it's low carbon fuel standard. But I think with what's happening, there's probably going to be a little bit of a turn here. People know California is top dog when it comes to gas prices. By the way, Hawaii actually is top dog today, taking California's title. But to your point, I think a lot of taxpayers in other states are probably going to be a bit hesitant when states bring this up, and expect political pundits to certainly draw parallels to California. Should these issues come up in areas like New York and Illinois, I would look for hesitant consumers knowing what it's done to California's gas prices.
Yeah. Patrick DeHaan is the head of petroleum analysis for Gas Buddy. He's with us here on the Big Biz Show. Patrick, do electric vehicles, and the more they're out there, help us as far as gas prices, or do they affect it adversely?
Is there a net zero? Because there's an argument for a net zero.
Well, it's going to be lumpy. That is, you would expect, well, hey, gasoline's going to be declining, right, with more electric vehicles. But the thing about it is the refineries are going to look and see the writing on the wall. That is, are they going to continue investing and maintaining and expanding? Well, they're not going to expand, but are they going to continue investing in maintenance in their refineries if they see that gasoline demand is declining? And that's, by the way, part of the reason why there are fewer refineries in California, because, hey, if you're not going to use gasoline, it doesn't make any sense to keep a refinery open very long,
but
right?
Patrick, how do you look at gas prices and food prices? May as well be a tax. You can't avoid it. You got to pay for food to put food on the table, and you got to go to work. How do you decline, or how do you make gas usage decline in where 47 of the 50 states are legitimately commuter states?
Yeah, absolutely. And look for more incentives. I mean, California's been playing that model, right? Incentivizing EV purchases. But the thing about it, too, is when California's also telling people, hey, don't charge tonight because there's not enough power in the grid, there's a lot of worrisome signals here, right?
That's great.
So
it's going to be a sweaty night, Mike.
You got to mention it. If you're in the middle of a hurricane coming at you and the state's like, hey, can you wait on charging? And you're like looking around like, no. Yeah. This is where liquid fuels really comes into play. And I do think that there'll probably be more incentives. Now, a big part of this conversation, too, I'm not going to get into the political weeds, but depending on which way the White House goes, there's going to be a big difference in policy on EVs versus internal combustion engine vehicles, or is there not? I mean, Elon Musk and former President Trump seem to be buddying up, so maybe there could be some developments there. But a lot of this is going to be policy fueled.
The other piece of it, too, though, is do we have the infrastructure to have 2,000 EVs on the Golden Gate Bridge? Nope. Will it hold it when each EV weighs 8,000 pounds? Patrick, thank you, brother. Good to see you. We'll see you very soon. Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy. Just because oil prices go up does not mean gas prices go up.
Right. It's the refineries.
Oil to a gasoline company is like potatoes to McDonald's.
Yeah.
It is making French fries. French fries don't go up because the price of potato goes up. Competition does it. See what happens. That does it for us. Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com. See you next time.